Well, hello and welcome to the Informed Traveler Podcast, a weekly travel podcast where our goal is to help you become a more informed traveler. And I'm your host, Randy Sharman. Travel expert Onanta Forbes is traveling again, so we'll catch up with her cruising around Ireland, where she managed to take in the solar eclipse that happened this week. Plus, last week, I got the chance to visit the area of Diamond Valley, only about a 40-minute drive south of Calgary. It's also home to Eau Claire Distillery, known for its fabulous whiskey, gin, and vodka, and is Canada's most awarded craft distillery. It was a fun night out, so we'll talk with the CEO of Eau Claire Distillery to learn more about the story behind their success. But first, let's kick things off chatting with travel expert Onanta Forbes, who joins us each week to talk about the latest travel news, trends, and travel tips in general. You can follow her on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Onanta Forbes. OnantaForbes.com is her website. Hello, Onanta.
Hello, Randy. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I think you're having a little more adventure where you are than where I am. So tell us where you are and what have you been up to?
Right. So I'm on a cruise, and today I'm in Ireland. And before we get to the wonderful Oceana Vista, I thought I would just tell you about how I got here. So we were part of the worrisome group that because we were flying over to the UK with WestJet, and of course they were on strike, but luckily everything got sorted before we had to take off. So our plans didn't change. And it was actually my first time flying with WestJet on a transatlantic experience. Usually I go North America or into Mexico, including Mexico and the Caribbean. And I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised, and it was a very comfortable experience. The flight departed on time. We took advantage of WestJet's upgrade bidding, and we experienced premium class. So more comfort, more space, priority check-in and boarding, nice meals, good leg room. So if anybody has that opportunity, maybe try it. It's a good thing to do. And we flew on their Dreamliner, so a nice comfortable experience. So it's a good way to arrive. We arrived into Heathrow, and we were connecting in with British Airways into Belfast, where the cruise first started. So one thing I really have to remind people or suggest to people is always try and go in a day or so ahead of your cruise departure. Don't fly in on the same day. Number one, you never know if your flight gets delayed or something goes awry. And number two, your domestic flight, because we flew British Airways to Belfast out of Heathrow, it was delayed twice. So you don't want to mess that up. One of the things that we had to do was change terminals. We arrived in Terminal 4 and left out of Terminal 5. And, you, as a good travel agent, right, you always look to make sure, how to get from one point to another. Even though it says that the transfer were free between terminals, we had to pay. So, make sure that either you have some cash, or mostly everything is a cashless society, so you can use your credit card. But it was definitely something that you don't want to have to fiddle with. And then if you are in your port city ahead of time, ours was Belfast. We stayed at the Moxie Belfast City Hotel, which is part of Marriott. It's a good choice for a pre-cruise stay because it gets you right in the city versus near the airport. And it's only like 15 minutes to the cruise terminal and 15 minutes from the airport, located right in the heart of Belfast. And then you have the opportunities, because it's close to attractions like the Titanic Belfast and the Cathedral Quarter that you can walk to. It's a nice hotel. Good opportunity to have complimentary Wi-Fi. The rooms are compact, but they're nicely designed. I would say it's good for a 1 or 2 night pre-cruise, but not a week luxury stay. But again, take advantage of being in your port city a couple of days ahead and explore the city as well. Make it part of your overall vacation, because I think it's a really nice destination to do. Especially Belfast. It's got a lot of history here, good food, architecture, music, and very interesting contemporary culture.
Mm-hmm.
They had a huge festival a couple days prior. So if we had arrived a couple of days prior, we'd have been hauling our suitcases a couple of blocks to our hotel. So always kind of check out what's going on. And then we embarked on the Oceana Vista, and it's the cruise that we are on. It was named Eclipse Across the Belfast Skies. But it actually and they give you glasses in your room and give you tips about how to look at the eclipse, and even through the glasses or through binoculars and stuff. So they really try to market this sailing as being within the path of the eclipse, with programs and speakers and deck viewing. But then there was Mother Nature, because there's lots of clouds, lots and lots of clouds.
That's what I was just going to say. I bet you it was cloudy.
Yes. So we didn't see the eclipse, but good lead into what
But
eclipse
it does
could
get dark,
happen.
though, right? It does get darker.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't significantly something different out there, but it was a little bit darker and such. Recognizing that we're in a different part of the world. Like at
Mm-hmm.
home, we kind of know when it's going to get darker, and kind of the sense of what's happening outside. So,
Mm.
it wasn't really a momentous occasion
A little
that I noticed.
underwhelming. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it wasn't overwhelming. And of course, clouds like we are in the UK,
Yeah.
so clouds are prevalent. Right. Yes. So our itinerary, like our ports so far, we've gone to the Island Man and today to Green Castle, which is part of Derry, the jumping off spot to Derry. We're going to go to Scotland tomorrow, and then different parts of Scotland, but then also go to Denmark and Copenhagen, Berlin, and ending up a couple more ports before we end up in Southampton. And what's kind of fun is that there's an overnight in Copenhagen, so a nice way to see that city as well. There's 2 sea days towards the end, but that's kind of nice because also the ship is the destination as well.
Mm-hmm.
And a quick introduction to the Oceana Vista. It's one of Oceana's newer generation ships. It's very much aimed at the traveler who appreciates food, service, um, and a little bit more refined upscale cruise experience um, spending without without spending tons of time at sea, because it's also very port intensive. The ship was launched in 2023, so it is actually fairly new, and it carries about 1,200 guests and around 800 crew. So it's not a huge ship like you see other mega ships that are coming out now, and it
Mm-hmm.
offers lots of restaurants and lounges. It has a uncrowded feel, and the staterooms are actually nicely spacious. Like their standard accommodation starts at more than 290 square feet. So a nice way to enjoy the cruise line or the cruise ship as a destination as well. And there's a lot of people who have traveled on cruises before, on Oceania before. So they're looking for the food on board, because it's one of the chefs that they kind of that creates the experience is Jacques Pepin, and so they really focus on the food experience. So our first port of call was the Isle of Man, and we land, or you go into Douglas. It's the main area or the main port. You do have to tender. Actually, the first 5 ports on this cruise is tendering. So I think it's good to know that as you explore your itineraries, where you tender and where you just get off the ship and could kind of walk into the destination or into the city. Um, it's a beautiful destination, the Isle of Man. Douglas is like a seafront promenade. It has very beautiful Victorian architecture. You can take a little tour around the city with a horse tram. It has really fun little shops and cafes and pubs. Beyond Douglas, you can ride the Heritage Railway. You can visit Laxey, and there's this great big Laxey wheel. It's like a water wheel. It's not in use anymore. You can explore Peel and Peel Castle and lots of little historic sites and small villages. So it's got its own culture, history, and landscapes, and a very strong sense of identity. It's a beautiful destination, something that you might want to come and visit. So today, our port was Greed Castle, and this is where you kind of launched to go into Derry. And Derry is a very historic city. You can explore the city walls. Bogside has beautiful, very powerful murals. You learn about the Troubles and Bloody Sunday. We went to visit the Museum of Free Derry and went to Guildhall, explored it and the journey of the reconciliation because it has a very turbulent past and history that if you really think about it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's a good way to enjoy learning about it. Like you're not enjoying what happened, but it's a good way to learn about history and how it kind of just created this culture here. And for something lighter, I don't know if you have, but on Netflix, I totally enjoyed when Dairy Girls was on,
I was just going to
and
ask, did you
so
see the Dairy Girls mural? You were talking about murals. There's a big mural of Dairy Girls in Derry.
yes, I did. It's not very far from Guildhall, and if you look on my socials, you'll see that mural. I put it as my new cover photo.
I
So
love that
it
show.
is
It's a
fun.
great show. It's a great show. So if people
Yes.
haven't watched it, they should look for it, Dairy Girls on Netflix.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And then, so there's that fun Dairy Girl connection. There's great pubs, music, lively local atmosphere. And, Dairy's actually really best experienced through its stories and people rather than just ticking off the sites. The people are incredibly friendly here. And always, over a pint of Guinness. It's a good way to enjoy the atmosphere. So far, so good. We have the weather has been very nice, quite hot. Today's the first day we had some sprinkles of rain, but still very comfortable. So it's definitely different places. I think you're going to have to wear different clothes. You're going to either have to layer up or get out your umbrella or get into your shorts, but it's really fun. So far it's been a good experience.
Well, it sounds like a lot of fun, and people can follow, like you said, some of the images of Derry and Isle of Man and all the other places that you've been so far on Instagram, Facebook, X, at Onanta Forbes, your website, onantaforbes.com. Looking forward to hearing more about your cruise next week, so enjoy your ports of call, and we'll chat with you then.
Okay, thanks, Randy. Bye, everybody.
This is the Informed Traveler Podcast. I'm Randy Sharman. Just want to remind you of our website, theinformedtraveler.org. That's where you can find our contact page if you have any questions or comments about the podcast. You can also email me, too, with any questions you might have or show segment ideas. My email address is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. You can check out our social media pages, too, at facebook.com/informedtraveler, Instagram at informedtraveler, or on X links at Informed Traveler. That's where you'll find a number of videos and photos from our recent and past interviews and stories. Plus, you can sign up for our monthly newsletter. It's released at the beginning of every month. Our August issue is now available. Just go to our website, theinformedtraveler.org, click on the newsletter button, and it'll take you right there. Or better yet, you can subscribe to it and have it arrive in your inbox each month. So last week, I got the chance to visit the area of Diamond Valley. It's only about a 40-minute drive south of Calgary. It's also home to Eau Claire Distillery, known for its fabulous whiskey, gin, and vodka spirits, and is Canada's most awarded craft distillery. It was a fun night out and great experience. So joining us now to tell us more about the Eau Claire Distillery and the story behind their success is the CEO of Eau Claire Distillery, David Farron. Their website, eauclairedistillery.ca. Hi, David.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. First of all, I got to say thank you for hosting us last week. It was the first time I've been out to Eau Claire Distillery, and it's for those who don't know where it's located. It's about a half-hour drive south of Calgary. It's a beautiful drive on the way out there, and it's a great venue. I thought it to be large enough to host like a larger group if you wanted to, but it still has that intimate feel to it. Is that sort of the vibe you're looking for?
Yeah, I think we love our location in what we now call Diamond Valley, but Turner Valley was a historic town name, and it is a place that was kind of the apex of Alberta history, and we occupy about 7 buildings on a 10-acre site, and most of them date back to the 1920s. So it's a great place to visit. You know, as just for the day, as a group or as an individual, we're always pleased and welcoming to everybody that comes to see our facility.
Mm-hmm. Well, you wouldn't know that from the front, that there's more to it behind the scenes sort of thing, and you've done a great job in preserving sort of that historic feel.
Yeah, I think, we wanted to do that. I mean, there's some practicalities and impracticalities of having those old buildings, but they've been a great part of our brand and history, but also the history of the province. So we range, I think our first one, the building was the, historic location of the town brothel in the 1920s, which is always fun. And then the next one was a 1929 movie theater, which was also doubled as the town hall. And then next on to that was a 1923 bowling alley. And then our speakeasy is located in a Quonset that was the original 1940 Greyhound bus depot. So all of them kind of have their own tales to tell.
Mm-hmm. So how long has the distillery been there now? And give us a brief history of how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, well, we started in 2013. So we were the first craft distillery in the province of Alberta. And we had to lobby for a few changes in laws in order for a distillery to even operate. And our goal from the very start was to be a single malt whiskey distillery, which would have been the first really at the time in Western Canada, and one of the first in Canada. So pretty exciting. And one of the reasons behind it was just the knowledge that Alberta makes the best barley in the world. And I don't think that's even a matter of argument. It's, our barley is used in both brewing and distilling around the world. And in fact, about 80% of the whiskeys in Scotland are made with Alberta barley. So our belief was that if anybody should be doing it, Alberta should be. So that was kind of the background to our starting all those years ago.
So you have the whiskey. You also have other products too. You have gin, vodka, and from what I learned from your knowledgeable staff when I was there is that the whiskey takes some time before it becomes consumable or the way you want it to be consumed. So the vodka kind of came first. Is that true?
Yep, that's right. We came out with our 3-point vodka, which is also made with a barley base, very unusual in that respect. And then we came out next with the gin, with our Parlor Gin, which is I think Canada's most awarded gin. And then all during that time, and we also made RTDs, which lots of people know in the market. But all during that time, we were putting away as much whiskey as humanly possible. And you're right, it's an industry of great patience. But we did discover, a unique thing in the climate of Alberta, and I think that was, really something that nobody knew at the time, was that we have the Goldilocks and perfect climate for making whiskey, which really accelerates the maturation.
Okay, well, expand on that then.
Well, in Alberta, as all of us Albertans know, we have this crazy climate with Chinooks that are coming and they're changing the pressure dramatically, and also changing the temperature dramatically in a very dry climate. So those sort of three things come together. And when you put whiskey in a barrel, so the changes in pressure will force the whiskey into the stage of the barrel to extract more flavor. The fluctuation of temperature, when it's hot, it sucks out more flavor out of the wood. When it's cool, it oxygenates. And then the dry aspect of our high elevation, because we're at about 4,000 feet in Turner Valley, means that we have a very high angel share, which is the evaporation that we get. So we get about 12% a year, which is compared to Scotland, which is a very stable climate that has 3% a year, but it's cool. It's 12 or say 15 degrees Celsius, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So it takes a long time for it to mature. We've done studies now, scientific studies, which we've actually presented to conventions in Edinburgh, that show that we have twice the acceleration. So a 5-year-old Eau Claire is equivalent to a 10-year-old Scotch. So it's that pronounced in terms of how fast we mature and get the complexity of the whiskeys.
Wow!
Which in the end is great. What happens is we're instead of losing that 12% in the whole of the whiskey, which is what would happen in Scotland, we lose the water because of the dryness in the air. And so we can actually proof it back to make it a delicious whiskey.
So what I'm hearing is that Alberta whiskey, and in particular your whiskey, is very good on the world stage.
It is. I mean, and, I think we've proven that. We've won a lot of awards, and we're, standing head to head with some of the most famous and biggest whiskeys in the world. And I think that, that is a testament to, Alberta barley, our great climate, and I would say to the great team at Eau Claire Distillery. But I think it's really just, it's turned into a bit of a phenomenon for us, and we continue to get, awards for our products, in every competition that would be of stature around the world.
Nice. Well, I did hear the province talking about making Alberta whiskey its sort of own identity. I don't really know how to describe it. But when you talk about, say, Tennessee whiskey, people know what it is, right? It has that marketing thing behind it, or Kentucky bourbon, that kind of thing. Do you see one day there'll be Alberta whiskey and people come here and they want to do a tour of your place and they want to learn more about whiskey like they do when they go to Tennessee and Kentucky and those places, or Scotland, for example?
Yeah, I think so. I think, as we, as a fledgling industry, really get our feet, more and more people are tasting it, realizing, what great whiskeys we make in the province. And the province has recognized that with the Whiskey Act. And the Whiskey Act is really just taking a page out of, champagne or bourbon or Scotch, where they have put some rules around what it is to ensure the quality and, how you make it.
Mm-hmm.
So in Alberta, it has to be made with primarily Alberta grain. It has to be matured and bottled and created in the province of Alberta in order to get the stamp. Just like bourbon has to be made in Bourbon County and champagne has to be made in, the district of Champagne in France. So it really will help us, I think, establish a recognition around the quality of Alberta whiskey.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about some of the tours and what people can do when they stop by Eau Claire Distillery.
Well, I think it's a great place to visit. It's close to Calgary. We're really 35, 40 minutes south of Calgary. And you get into the great sort of historical ranch lands of the foothills. And you get into the heart of where Alberta really began. This was the first discovery of oil. And we have a historic refinery that you can tour. But at Eau Claire, I think what you get is just a little bit of Alberta history. You get some great cocktails and a paired meal and food with it. You can tour the distillery. You can see how whiskey is made, how gin is made, and you can just sort of enjoy the ambiance of a great place with several venues. We have a whiskey lounge. We have a speakeasy. We have a great patio. So there's lots of things to do down here, and you can take tours and learn the fun of how whiskey is made.
Well, you do a good job, I say, of combining the history of the area, the local area. So you're right. You can learn a lot about the local history, enjoy some great products. I will say I'm more of a rum drinker, but I do like a good old-fashioned, and your staff makes a really good old-fashioned.
Yeah, well, that's good. They do, and they pride themselves on it. And I think that they've got a pretty good repertoire of cocktails that so you can come down, and I think it's sometimes fun to come down into what would be perceived as cowboy country and have a really great cocktail made by our local mixologist. So it's a pretty cool sort of surprise for a lot of people when they come.
It is actually. I would say, yeah. I think people would be pleasantly surprised doing a tour and a visit there. Do you have a favorite when you go there?
Well, I too like the old fashioned, and I'm a bit of a traditionalist. Is I like a good gin and tonic, and I think our parlor gin has such a unique flavor to it that it really adds to a G&T. So while I'm a great proponent of the really exotic cocktails that we produce here, I sometimes am a bit of a basic guy.
Nothing wrong with basics. And people, too, for those who are non-alcoholic drinkers, can enjoy the experience. You do have some pretty tasty mocktails as well. Yeah,
that's right. And just I like a neat whiskey, right? I mean, we're very, very proud of our Plowman's single malt, and it's such a smooth whiskey that, to sit on the patio on a nice day, there's nothing better.
Mm-hmm. And if you go on a Friday, there's live entertainment, which just adds to the ambiance.
Yeah, and we try and promote local artists, of which there are many in this area. So I think Diamond Valley sort of prides itself on having a lot of really talented musicians, and so every Friday you can come down and enjoy a music and a cocktail.
It's a great way to spend a Friday or any day to come for a tour and enjoy the history and the surroundings of Eau Claire Distillery. Anything you want to add that I might have missed?
No, I think just we really love having people come down and share what we've built down here and show off Diamond Valley and Turner Valley, and we want to remind people that it's not that far away. It's for many people in Calgary, it's a drive of 35 minutes is a drive across Calgary. So we certainly welcome people to come.
Do you get many out of town visitors, by the way? People from international visitors? Yeah.
Yeah, we do. We get lots of people that we get a bit of the rubber tire traffic that's coming up from the U.S. We get a lot of Brits. And I think that's because, they come from a place that loves both gin and whiskey. And so from a tourism point of view, we get that. And we even get, several times a week, we'll get a busload from Disney that are coming off of the Disney cruise ship. So we get a real variety of visitors, but we have a pretty big tourist segment here as well.
Very good. David Farron is the CEO of Eau Claire Distillery, just about a half-hour, 40-minute drive south of Calgary. You can find out more information on their website, eauclairedistillery.ca. It was great chatting with you, David. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Great to talk.
And that is our show for this week. If you have comments or questions, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a show idea, send that along as well. My email is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And if you like what you heard, tell a friend. You can check out our website too at theinformedtraveler.org. In the meantime, thanks for listening, travel safe, and be an informed traveler.